Trump may be isolating the United States in the Gulf just as Iran rolls out new rules for shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. US allies have been trying to coordinate on Hormuz security, but Trump's rejection of outside help could hand Iran a political advantage. A rattled Trump rejected allies' Hormuz offer and told what he called a useless NATO to stay away, deepening questions over Western unity. Donald Trump said NATO was a paper tiger after receiving an offer of help from allies over the Strait of Hormuz, according to his April 17 remarks. Trump lashed out at NATO, saying he did not need any help in the Strait of Hormuz and telling the alliance to stay away after the waterway situation eased. He also said the military bloc was useless when needed during the war with Iran, sharpening his long-running criticism of allies over burden sharing and military support. Donald Trump said, "Now that the Hormuz Strait situation is over, I received a call from NATO asking if we would need some help. I told them to stay away, unless they just want to load up their ships with oil. They were useless when needed, a paper tiger." For weeks, Trump had been attacking allies for not joining the US campaign against Iran more forcefully, making the latest outburst part of a broader pattern rather than a one-off remark. On April 17th, Trump said he had received a call from NATO partners offering help, a claim also reflected in media reports and his own public comments. Donald Trump said, "NATO called me and said, 'Is there anything we can do?' And I said, 'Yeah, stay away.'" Trump's attack on allies came after France and the UK chaired a meeting focused on securing the Strait of Hormuz through a possible multilateral mission once conditions allow. Reuters reported that more than a dozen nations had confirmed willingness to join an international mission tied to Hormuz security, though the wider diplomatic format involved many more countries. Around 50 countries took part in the meeting on a future mission to secure the Strait of Hormuz when conditions permit, according to Reuters. French President Emmanuel Macron said the meeting sent a united message demanding the full, immediate, and unconditional reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. France and Britain said they were preparing a multinational defensive mission, and French naval assets in nearby theaters could potentially support such an effort if political decisions are made.
Les événements récents sont encourageants, même si nous devons les...
The recent events are encouraging, even though we have to consider them carefully. We welcome, of course, the ceasefire between Iran and the United States. We also welcome the recently announced ceasefire regarding Lebanon. It has been respected as is. And we also welcome the announcement of the reopening, as a result of the ceasefire, of the Strait of Hormuz decided by Iran. All of these go in the right direction. We are all asking for the immediate full reopening unconditionally for all parties of the Strait of Hormuz. We are asking for the re-establishment of the conditions of free passage that was in effect before the war and the full respect of freedom of navigation. We all oppose any restriction or any agreements that amount to an attempt to privatize the strait and, of course, any system of tolls. We will strengthen and accelerate the efforts of planning that we have already started, which is coordinated with the United Kingdom, to allow for the implementation of a neutral mission, completely distinct from the parties in conflict, in order to accompany and ensure the safety of commercial vessels that are passing through the Gulf. Next week, a planning meeting will take place in London, and all of this will be accompanied by diplomatic work and conflict resolution work with the Iranians, as well as close coordination with the Americans and the Israelis.
Et le plein respect du droit de la mer.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer also announced that military planners would meet in London next week to work on the next stage of the proposal.
We welcome the announcement that was made during our meeting, but we need to make sure that that is both lasting and a workable proposal. And if anything, it reinforces the need for the work that we've been doing this afternoon, because we're very clear that the mission that we're putting together is a defensive mission and that comes after a ceasefire. We agreed to accelerate our military planning. I can confirm that along with France, the UK will lead a multinational mission to protect freedom of navigation as soon as conditions allow. This will be strictly peaceful and defensive as a mission to reassure commercial shipping and support mine clearance. We invite all nations with an interest in the free flow of global trade to join us. We will take this forward with a military planning conference in London next week, where we will announce more detail on the composition of the mission, and over a dozen countries have already offered to contribute assets.
As of that meeting, neither the United States nor Iran was part of the UK-France-led talks on a future Hormuz security mission. Iran's Navy commander Shahram Irani described the US naval blockade as piracy and banditry, framing the American move as an unlawful attempt to choke maritime traffic in one of the world's most sensitive waterways. Shahram Irani also said commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz was continuing despite US warnings, signaling that Tehran wanted to project confidence in its ability to keep traffic moving. The Iranian commander further claimed that the blockade was hurting America's own allies, arguing that Washington's pressure campaign was damaging partner economies and regional shipping interests as well. Shahram Irani said what this person, Trump, calls a naval blockade is nothing but banditry and piracy. Others need the Strait of Hormuz. He has blockaded his own friends, not us. Every day, ships that follow the rules and understand international norms are transiting. Even when the US issues warnings, they do not listen to it.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.